Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie. I am the owner and founder of Lady Faulty. So thank you for joining me. You're either watching me on my Facebook channel or my YouTube channel, my Facebook page or YouTube channel. And I have a mess on my desk right now. And so today we are here. We are starting a series on talking about the different clairs and what they are, what they mean, and things you can work with if you want to try to enhance those gifts. I will start out by saying my hair is a wreck. I literally like ran and sat down at the desk. I will say that I think everybody is born with all of these abilities, gifts, whatever you want to call them. And some of us are just more naturally tuned into certain ones. And the best way for me to think about it and describe it is, some of us are just natural basketball players. Some of us are just natural dancers. Some of us are just natural musicians. Some people can pick up the guitar and basically, look at some sheet music and play it, and that's all they need. Where others of us have to practice day after day after day after day after day, and then even then it's still hard for us. So I think the clairs are similar to that. Some of us, it just comes supernatural to. We don't really need to do much of anything. It just comes to us. And others of us, I think we really have to, fine tune our abilities and our gifts. And I can't see this. Morning, Cindy. Thanks for watching. So we're talking about the clairs, and I was just getting started. So thanks for watching. And I was just saying how I think everybody is born with this, same, all these abilities, and that some of us, it comes more natural than it does to others. Like I was saying, some people just can naturally pick up an instrument and play it, where other people have to really practice and work at it and, do all the things and to be able to play it. And then even that, sometimes it's still hard for certain people. So, if these clairs don't come to you, just naturally, and you have to work at it a little bit, you're really not alone. There are a lot of us that these don't come natural to. And from my own experience, I have little bits of most of these, but I don't have any of them like dialed in. So, I get little glimpses, I get little smells, I get little things of intuition, but that is, out of all of them, that is my strongest, is my intuition and my instincts. So, but today we're going to be talking about clairvoyancy. And so what does that mean? Clairvoyancy is hi, Fiona and Steve. I can't see without my glasses, but I've been trying not to wear my glasses so you guys can actually see my eyeballs, because when I wear my glasses, all you guys see is reflective glare. So clairvoyancy is clear seeing or clear viewing. So that is happens mostly when your third eye is very well balanced or opened. Can also happen when your third eye is overactive as well. Most likely will not happen if your third eye is underactive. Let's see here. Some of the things that you may expect if you are clairvoyancy and what it would mean. So first off, I think clairvoyancy, and everybody has opinions on all these things, and you can go online and Google it, and you'll get 12 different answers from 12 different people about what they think it means. And my best advice is watch this video and maybe find one or two other sources that you resonate with, other teachers or whatever, books, and absorb it, process it, and keep what seems right. And if it doesn't seem right to you, then just let it go and move on. So if there's something that I say that doesn't resonate with you, that's perfectly fine. I'm going off my learnings and what makes sense to me, what feels right to me. Um, but, certainly I encourage people anyway to learn from multiple sources, just because it's always good to have different insights on different things. I have teachers that I love, and but not everything they say always resonates with me. All right. So, some of the things that you may expect. I get sidetracked a lot. When you are getting what I call messages, but they're actually like some sort of site, um, those usually are going to come from what some people will call their spirit team, other people will call guides, could be ancestral, could be angels, could be archangels, and some people even say saints. You don't hear that one very often, but some people do, like that. Different kinds of saints. The first one, the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Saint Bridget. Um, but some people say they get messages from different saints. Some people say higher self as well. So you can incorporate that into what you mean, whatever feels right to you, whatever. I think a lot of them come from my ancestors, specifically my gram. I think most of my stuff comes through from my gram, but whatever feels right for you. But I do think like there's this, everyone, in my opinion, again, I think everyone has a spirit team, which is made up of people that you are connected with somehow, whether it's relatives, whether it's past lives, souls, um, all kinds of different things, loved ones that may not necessarily be family, that are, watching over us and helping us. All right. So, some of the images that we receive are usually some sort of guide. They are trying to tell us something. And, I think with clairvoyancy, it's like just constantly playing a game of charades, trying to figure out what they're trying to tell us, because clairvoyancy is seeing. Now, you may have clairvoyancy as well as being able to hear them as well, which we'll talk about that later. So if you've got like two like that come through pretty clear to you, you probably won't struggle quite so much. But if you, for what we're talking about today, if you just had clairvoyancy and you didn't really have any other abilities that were, naturally coming through for you, that's kind of what we're talking about. So you may have intuition on there, you may have an empath on there, you may have, different clairs, and we'll get to that. But for today's purposes, it's basically if you just had clairvoyancy. And like I said, you're going to be getting images. They're going to be flashes. You might when something just like a picture comes to your mind and then it just kind of goes away. That's what I consider flashes. You may have visions, and these can come in different forms. Daydreaming is one. Meditation, journeys are other ways, and dreaming. So dreaming, I think, plays a big part for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't necessarily either pay attention to what their dreams are meaning to them. They just think, oh, I just had a weird dream last night or whatever. Um, or that if they do kind of realize that there's something going on in their dream, they don't really know how to process through that and see what the meanings are on that. So, um, the next thing I wrote down is they don't always make sense. Um, and so that's where I was kind of going with the whole, like, it's just a constant kind of game of charades. Um, trying to, like, not that the person's there, like, you know, actually doing charades, but you kind of have to take the pieces of the visions that you are getting, however that's coming to you, and put them together to try to figure out the message. And I've certainly had, through different ways, I've had messages that I'm like, I just don't know what you're trying to tell me. And then maybe a month or two later, something happens, or somebody does something or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's what you meant. So, you're not always going to figure it out. But I think, the more you pay attention, the more you practice, and things like that, the easier it gets for you. So the smallest details are important to remember when you're getting these flashes. So whatever it may be. And I've studied a couple of, not formally or anything, but I've studied a few books and things on dreams. I took a course, it was on Wicca, but there was a section that was all about dream interpretation. And so I have taken a little bit of that to kind of help guide me in the direction of interpreting dreams and visions. And so the smallest little details can make a difference. Was there water there? Was there fire there? Was there anything that stood out to you that was odd? Like, it's like, oh, I don't know why, but we were in my old house, or my past grandmother was there, or there was just this really large bowl in the middle of the room. Like all those things, if you piece them together, you can, try to figure out what the meaning is the message is trying to come across to you. So smallest details. So if you are somebody who does dream a lot, I would certainly recommend keeping a notebook next to your desk, next to your bed. I do have a little notebook next to my bed. I don't typically dream often. Well, I don't remember my dreams. We all dream every night, but I don't remember my dreams. But once in a great while, I will wake up and a dream is so like I have dreams that were years ago that I can still tell you the smallest details about them today, because they were just so I don't know what that was, but I really felt like it was real when I woke up. And those are ones, you really want to jot down, and even like the smallest details could bring some sort of insight or meaning to you. Okay, so moving on. The messages can also be answers for prayers or questions, spells. Maybe you are do spell work. In my opinion, prayers and spell work are really the same thing. They're just done in a little different format. If you go to church and you drink the wine and eat the bread and kneel down and pray, it's not much different than somebody who is going to work with candles and herbs and then do some spell work. So for me, it's very similar. But the messages can be answers to that as well. Some of them can be important, so pay attention. But some of them can just be little things. Sometimes even messages are not always life-changing, life-altering, warning kind of things. They can be just little heads up on things. So you don't have to, like if you get a dream, everything isn't bad. So that to me is very important to say to you guys, is that how you interpret your dreams or visions, journey quests, whatever you've been on, the way you interpret your dream, your vision is very important. And it's going to have a lot to do with how you see things and how you see the world. How you would interpret a dream is going to be very, very different than maybe how I would interpret a dream. For example, I have somebody in my life that gets these little messages, and the way she interprets them, she usually goes very quick to it being a warning of some sort. And I don't go that way. Sometimes the warnings are warnings, but not everything is a warning. Um, and so, the way she would interpret something is usually very like, oh, somebody's in danger, somebody's going to get hurt, something bad's going to happen. And I'm like, no, let's break it down and see what it means. So just be aware of that. Like I said, your interpretations are going to be different than my interpretations, and that's because we're made up differently and we've had different experiences, and our outlook on life is different on a lot of different things probably. Um, but just don't always jump to that it's a warning. Not every message that comes through is a warning. And sometimes they like to be just funny. I've had that, where I'm like, I don't know what you guys are doing, and then it's just like they're just being funny. Um, and I don't know. I guess they got a sense of humor too. Um, so we've talked about images, flashes, visions, dreams, all of that. The other thing when you have clairvoyancy is you may actually see what we would call spirits. Some people say ghosts. Some people, I prefer to call them ancestors, even if they're not actually related to us. For me, the ancestors of the ones who have come before us. So I kind of like to use the term ancestors, but for today I'm just going with spirits because that seems to be, pretty universal, I guess. So when I say you may see spirits, again, there's not any one way that this happens. Everybody is a little bit different. My allergies are driving me crazy. My eyes are itching today. Um, Everybody is different on how they do things. Like I was saying before, um, some people, I don't know. I'll say make a cake. We can all make a cake, but we're not going to all make it the same way. We're not going to all do it exactly the same way and end up with all the same exact cakes. Um, I don't know, that was a really weird analogy, but it's the first thing that came to my mind. Um, so not everybody is going to see things or interpret things or receive, see, whatever the same way. So if you do have clairvoyancy, um, and you're not really sure of something that I've said, or you want clarification or more details, you can always comment or private message me. I will do my best to answer anything the best that I can to my understanding and knowledge. Um, but back to seeing spirits. Again, it could be very different for different people. Some people may only see them in dream state or journey or whatnot. Other people may just see them with their eyes closed. They may just close their eyes, and it's not really a dream. It's not really a vision. It could be just like your eyes are closed, but you're seeing them like they were in the room with you. And then other people will actually see them like with their eyes open, like they are in the room with you. Um, to my knowledge, that's not as common as people think it is. Not everybody is the ghost whisperer. I don't know if you guys remember that TV show, um, where you can see and talk and have whole conversations with ghosts or spirits. Um, but some people can see them just like with their eyes open and like that they would be in front of them and can see them. Now, again, that doesn't necessarily mean they can hear them. We'll get to that in another video, but they can see them. And sometimes seeing them can also come in different forms. So again, there's really no like, this is the way it is. Everybody's experiences could be different. Seeing a spirit with your eyes open you are not going to see them like they're an actual person. Like you can't tell if they're a ghost or not, a spirit or not. Um, you know, if you're one of the, if you ever had that experience, I'd really like to hear about it because I've never heard of anybody actually not knowing whether or not it was a spirit or a live person. Usually they are partially transparent. Usually they will be fuzzy. Um, Usually they will be more on the white kind of color. Not to say that they won't have color on them, that they may be completely all white, but usually they're just more of a white hint hue color. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like they may have a colored shirt on, and you can tell that it's colored, but everything's kind of got a whiteness to it. And not that I don't necessarily mean glow, which I suppose that's possible, but it's just kind of you can tell they're like a transparent kind of white opaque kind of a being. Um, the other thing is um, oftentimes they are referred to as having like no, feet, kind of like somewhere between their hip and their knee kind of fades out, and you don't always see their feet. And again, it's never 100%. That's the way it is. There's different people see things differently, but generally that is pretty common that you don't see the last little bit of the bottom of them, like from the knee down area, kind of fades out. The other thing is, and I think people see these and don't realize that they see these, is the orbs, the energy orbs. You always see people that have posted pictures of them, and like, oh, somebody's like, oh, that's a piece of dust, or that's just the way the light glares off things and stuff. Well, maybe it is. I'm not a photo tech expert of any sort, but I think orbs are a real thing, and that they're I can't grab it. Maybe I can. The spirit form, once it leaves the body in its natural state, and I just broke it. Never mind. I have a mess to pick up now. That's what happens when your area is a mess. Anyway, it looks like a macabre, and that was the only one I had, and I just broke it. Um, so yeah, Google macabre if you are interested in seeing what that looks like. But in the spirit's natural form, it's a macabre, but it is spinning and moving, and so it appears round, but it's not really round. It has, yeah, I can't show you now. It's over there on the floor, broken, and I think I broke my vase too. um, so yeah, it spins, and even though it has, I do have one. I lied. This is a macabre. So this is what spirit form looks like in its natural state. Picture this spinning like in all different directions. I can't do it with my hands, but spinning this way and then this way, and it spins pretty fast. And so you could see where it would look like an orb. And so a lot of people see those orbs. Quick story, I woke up one night in the middle of the night. I don't remember why. I came down to the kitchen, so I must have been thirsty or something, because our bedroom is that way and the kitchen is that way. And half asleep, and I walked by the hallway window, and the backyard was like lit up with what I could only think at the time was fireflies, but they were big. And so I was like, oh my God. It literally stopped me in my tracks when I went by the window and saw all of them, hundreds of them in the backyard, all at the same time. And I'm like, I've seen our backyard with maybe 5 or 6 fireflies at a time, but I was like, oh my God, there are literally hundreds, and they were big, like big. And so I don't know. I ran back to the bedroom. This was years ago, and I ran back to get my camera. That tells you how long ago it was. I didn't grab a phone. I went to grab an actual camera, and I came back and I was watching them through the window. No, sorry, I was watching them through the window for a while, and then when I went to get my camera, I came back and they were gone. There wasn't a single one out there. So to me, I don't know if that was some spirit teams out there. I don't know if that was the fairy people out there. I don't know what was out there, or maybe it was just really hundreds of giant um, fireflies. But it was amazing. So there are things out there, and maybe it was a message for me at that time. I wasn't really like learning all this stuff, and I mean, I've always been interested in this kind of stuff, but at that time I wasn't actively learning or trying to understand those things, so I didn't really do much of any digging around to see what it possibly could have been. But anyway, my point is, they can come in lots of different forms, and they're not always even the same. Um, you know, I've had things where I'm like, okay, this is how my messages are going to come, and then all of a sudden they come in a different way. And I'm like, okay, I guess this is how I'm going to get them, and then they go back to the other way. So I don't know if it's necessarily me, or if it's the one, the spirit, the ancestor, the guide, who is giving the messages, if that's how they give them. So you know, I'd love to hear any insight on what you think, if it's more our gift or if it's more the messenger, so to speak, I guess. So, so yeah, so let me just check my notes here and kind of make sure. I'm not going to go in too much today about the veil, but I've got videos about the veil. If you're interested in learning about the veil being thicker or thinner, and when the veil is thinner, you are more likely to see, hear, smell all of the things that we're going to talk about. And the veil is thin during 2 times a year, during Beltane and during Samhain. And when those times come up this year, we're going to talk about those as well. Let's see here. We talked about dreams, messages. Oh, another thing is, if you are not familiar with a lot of symbols, symbols or signs or angel numbers, all of those things would be really good if you are somebody who has very vivid dreams or visions. I would suggest learning as much as you can about symbols. In that Wicca class I took, they did talk about symbols, but they talked about, you know, some very basic ones, like if you see a cup, if you see a bowl, if you see the moon, if you see the sun, you know, things like that. So there's a lot of different things you can learn from symbology, and even just if you want to get a dream book about symbology, you could start with something like that too. I have a pretty thick book, and it talks about like each different, like I can say the first thing that comes to mind is I had a dream that had a lot of flies in it. There was an object that was covered in flies, and so I can take that book and open right up to flies and read what flies represent. Now that doesn't necessarily mean whatever says in the book is going to be exactly how I'm going to interpret it, but it usually will give me a kind of like a insight of as to where I need to go with the message. So again, the books aren't always 100% because everybody interprets things different and has different meanings for things. You know, if you see a cross in your dream, and I see a cross in my dream, that same cross could have different meaning to both of us. So the dream books are good to kind of give you a reference starting point as to where to go with it, but I still think you really need to just feel into it and see what it means. Don't push it. Like I said, you can try to practice, and you can try to work with crystals and herbs and things to help it come through. Just like if you were learning an instrument, you would practice and practice and practice. You can practice and work at fine tuning your gift. But don't push it. Don't, like, if it's not coming to you, don't push it. Don't get stressed out. It will all come when it's meant to for you. And some of us, again, it's just some of us are going to say, like, oh, I can do this, and they're going to get a few herbs and a crystal. There goes the dog. Stay off there. There's glass there. Sorry. Um, a few of us will get herbs and some crystals, and it's going to come right through for us and be like, oh, okay. Others are going to really have to practice, and it's not anything that they're better than you or more deserving than you, or you're not as good as them, or it's not anything like that. It's just like anything else that we do. Some people can just cook and make whatever they make is delicious, and other people, like, no matter what they do, it just doesn't come out so great. So it's not anything about being good enough or being worthy or being better or anything like that. I think that was pretty much it. I was hoping I was going to have time to actually make a little incense with you, but I'm not going to have time to do that. So, quickly, some of the crystals that you could work with if you want to try to enhance your clairvoyancy. Amethyst is always a good one. I had my cards here still from this week. Amethyst is a good one to work with. That's in a natural state, not a tumbled state. Labradorite is a good one to work with. I think I did have aquamarine here. Aquamarine is a good one to work with. And then some of the other ones I wrote down are opal, fluorite, and tektite. I just happen to know these cards were here from Monday's video. So opal is another one, fluorite, and tektite, Tektite, if you are interested in that one. I don't have any tektite. I don't think I have any opal either. I have lots of fluorite. And that's one thing about it being so dark right now, is I can't see crap over here. Anyway, the kids were here at Christmas time and played in my crystal tray, so they're not kind of in the normal spots where they normally are. All right, if you want to make an incense, you can do this in lots of different ways. And again, I'm just trying to wrap this up here because I do have to go to work. But remember, you can take these herbs or oils, you can work with them in either way, or you can combine them. Like, say, I have a couple of these herbs and a couple of these oils, and you can mix them together to make an incense. You can just use the oils as a perfume and a diffuser. You can make some bath salts, because if you're going to use this during a meditation or a journey you're going to do, you could take a nice bath with it before. You could use the perfume and just anoint with it before. If you are somebody who has a lot of vivid dreams, you might want to make it into a spray form and maybe spray your pillow. There's like all kinds of things. So you need to find first where most of your messages come from, and then how you can best incorporate the herbs and the oils into that. The other thing, if you don't like to have, I love to burn my charcoal and put herbs on it, but if you are not someone who does that, or if you are in a spot where you can't burn things, um, like I said, perfume is a good way, room sprays are a good way, bath salts is a good way. The other thing you can do is you can take the herbs and the oils and mix them together, and then melt down a little bit of coconut oil, mix it all together, and then let the coconut oil re-solidify, and then you can put that in like a tart warmer or Scentsy burner or whatever, anything like that. That way you can do that and not have smoke. Because I've heard from a lot of people who like live in apartment buildings and things like that, they can't have anything that has smoke, or they can't light any kind of candles or things like that. So there's always lots and lots of different ways you can work with the herbs and the oils. You can make teas as well. Just always make sure that you're not allergic to anything, and that anything is not toxic. There are some herbs that are not good to ingest. And a couple of these, you could even smoke them if you wanted to. Not my choice. I don't like to smoke anything, but you could if you wanted to. So some of the ones, and I was going to get them pulled out, but I don't have time, is bay. Most people can go to their cupboard and find bay leaves. We have them in most cabinets in the kitchen have bay. So you can get some bay leaves and crush it up. You could put it in the mortar and pestle and grind it. You can do all kinds of things. I actually have a simmer pot on my stove it's just a little metal pot. I've got water in it, and it's got 3 bay leaves, and it's got some clove, and right now mine has some cinnamon and some orange slices in it, but I change it up depending on what I want to work with. So you could do something like that as well, make a simmer pot with the herbs. So bay is a good one. Buchu leaf is a good one. Buchu leaf is one of the ones where you could smoke it. Don't necessarily, I'm not a promoter of smoking things, but you can smoke it if you wanted to. You can also make buchu tea. Camphor is another one. Eyebright, hibiscus, lavender, marigold, mugwort. Mugwort is another one you can smoke, but again, I'm not a big promoter of smoking things, but if you wanted to, you could. Mugwort, nutmeg, and wormwood. So if you were doing a simmer pot, you could put some bay in there. You could put some lavender in there. You could put the marigolds in there. You could put some nutmegs in there and make a simmer pot and work with it that way. You could put the hibiscus in there as well, and most people can find hibiscus. So yeah, there's all kinds of different ways you can work with it. Some of these, like I said, you can make a tea, but I have a recipe for cookies that you top with crushed lavender. So, there's all kinds of different ways you can work with the different herbs and essential oils to do. I work with lavender a lot. I have a jumbo bottle, and I think I have more than one of these. And this one's actually, I've been using this one for a long time, and I use it a lot, and it's only down to right here, because you don't need a whole ton, usually just a couple of drops is enough for whatever you're doing. But if you are, if I got a really good deal on this, it was on sale. But if you're going to work with the oils, it might be a good idea to buy them in larger quantities. Most of them I buy in small ones, but lavender is one that is very common to be used, and so I bought a bigger bottle of it. So again, bay, buchu, camphor, eyebright, hibiscus, lavender, marigold, mugwort, nutmeg, and wormwood. And I was going to get my mortar and pestle out and get those out, and we were going to do a little crushing that up, and then I was going to top it off with a little lavender oil in it to kind of give it a little bit of a stickiness in there. So, but unfortunately, I don't have time. I have to go to work. So, so yeah, if you have any questions, something didn't make sense, or you want more information on something, certainly feel free to ask. And if you don't want to ask in the comments, you can always private message me. I'm perfectly fine with that. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything too overly important. But yeah, and just on a note, again, personal experience. Maybe someday I will change this and change my mind and think of it differently or whatnot. But as of right now, at this time in my life, I'm almost 50. And I have never, in my life so far, experienced anything that I have felt threatened by. A lot of times when it's things we don't know, that can't be explained, that don't make sense, we automatically go to a place of fear. The example that comes to mind all the time is my friend was telling me he watched this show, and it was like a ghost show, and there was a ball that was bouncing down the hallway, and everybody was freaked out and screaming and running, and it was insane. And I'm like, okay, but if you weren't in a ghost house and you weren't making a ghost TV show and you saw a ball bouncing down the hallway, would you be afraid? No. I would just think that there was a child playing with a ball somewhere. But that's where our mind goes so quickly, is that it's scary and it's obviously evil and it's bad and it's going to hurt us or it wants to hurt us or whatnot. And all I can say from my personal experience in my almost 50 years, I have never been hurt by a ghost or a spirit. I have never felt like any of them were ever trying to hurt me. And I've never felt like, I've walked into rooms where I'm like, something bad happened here. But it wasn't that there was a ghost in there or an evil spirit or anything like that. It was the energy that was in the room, and that just needs a good clearing. So I know there are a lot of people out there who believe in evil spirits, who believe in demons, if you will, the devil, all of those things. And I am not going to tell you that your belief is wrong. I'm only going to tell you that at this point in my life, at my almost 50 years old, I have never experienced anything personally that has made me afraid or made me, not want to do this anymore or anything like that. I had a friend who reached out to me, and I'm going over time here. I had a friend who reached out to me a while back because something had happened in her house, and she was very scared. I don't want to go into details or tell any personal things, but it involved her child. And so she was very scared and very concerned about what was going on. And I told her right off, I said, my first thought is there was no harm meant to your child. This individual was trying really, really hard to get your attention, and you weren't paying attention. And he knew by doing this that he was going to force you to pay attention to him. And with that, we did a bunch of pendulum work and some other things, and come to find out that it was someone she had known that she was friends with. And I really don't think he meant any harm whatsoever to her daughter. I just think he was really, really trying to get across to her, and she wasn't paying attention. Now, whether or not she was mentally blocking him out or purposely blocking him out or just not picking up on the signs he was giving, whatever the case may be. He knew by involving her child, that would force her to pay attention to him. And so, like I said, we did a bunch of pendulum work, and we did a bunch of stuff together, and kind of came up with what we felt was going on. Side note, she did have someone come in. I gave her the name of somebody that would go in and do a smudging at her house, and she did do that. But don't always go to that everything is bad and everything is a warning and everything is dangerous, just because we can't explain it. It can be kind of a when something happens, but for me personally, I'm like, okay, calm yourself down, take a deep breath, and then I like to break it down and process. Okay, what was happening? What did I actually see? What was going on? What was this? What was that? Was there anything else that maybe could give me some hints here to what was going on, and things like that. And I take things out of context of being in the other world. Like I said, if you walked into a building and just saw a ball bouncing down the hallway, you would just assume that there was a child or a dog or a cat or whatever, and that there was a ball. You don't necessarily go to, it's an evil ghost child that wants to kill me. So just be aware, and pay attention to the details. And if you ever get stuck on anything, certainly let me know. And oh my gosh, there's a bunch of comments here that I didn't even see. My computer didn't scroll up. I apologize. How do you work with crystals? Sorry, Val. Really interesting thinking. I'm just doing my crystal healing course, so this is really helpful already. Yeah, so working with crystals, a lot of different ways. I wear most of mine. So that's a really easy way to work with them. I have pretty much everything I have on for jewelry. I have azurite, I have sodalite, I have some amber, I have some jet, I have some turquoise, I have some selenite, I have hematite, tanzanite, all the chakra ones here. I have some blue lace agate, I have aquamarine. So I like to work with mine by wearing them, and that's pretty easy. Other things you can do is you can just put them in your pockets and work with them. You can hold them in your hands when you meditate. You could just, if you're going to meditate or do any vision work or journey work, you can just pick stones that are aligned to whatever it is you want to work with and hold them. You can place them around you. If you're going to be sitting in a spot, you could put them around you. Other things, if you're going to be doing some journey work, and let's see here. The kids moved all my stuff around. I don't know where anything is. This is a really big piece. This is not the piece I would use, but if you're going to be doing some journey work and you want it, you could lay down and you could place it on your third eye and just let it sit there while you are doing your meditation or journey or vision or whatever you're doing. You can grid with it. You can learn all about gridding. I have a couple of different books on gridding if you want some recommendations on that. The other thing is, if you are somebody who does a lot of the vivid dreaming, you can always put crystals under your bed. Just be aware, and if you want some help with that, I can certainly help you with that. But there are certain crystals you don't want to put under your bed, just because they are raising the vibration so much that it would make it hard for you to sleep. But you can work with it that way if you're working with crystals. I have a oil that it's just called Lucid. So it has a lot of the oils in it that I can just put a little bit on my wrist before I go to bed. And then I usually sleep with my head under my pillow so that the oil is very close to my nose. So I hope that helped, Val. And sorry, if you want more information, let me know. You can private message me or put questions in the comments here, and I can certainly, give you some more insight on that. But yeah, really good way if you do a lot of the lucid dreaming or vivid dreaming is to put crystals under your bed or beside your bed, or even placed around your room. But there are certain ones. One I would recommend is not anything that's really too high of a quartz based, because it will make it really hard for you to sleep if you've got a lot of quartz in your bedroom. But yeah, so you can work with, you could do an easy crystal grid under your bed. I don't have one here handy, but you can buy those little like board things. I have one, but it's buried. See what else I can break today. A little plywood. Okay, well, this one's handy, so I'm going to grab this. This was like something I grabbed out of the dollar store, but they have round ones. But you could use this one, and you could put your grid on here. I'm just going to grab a bunch here, whatever it may look like. You could put your grid on here and place it under your bed. You'd make a nice grid, and it would be pretty and all the things, and you could put it under your bed. I know people who will purposely buy crystals to make a grid, and then they actually glue them down, and then they'll slide this under their bed. So there's all kinds of things you could do like that. Like I said, you could make it into a perfume and anoint with it before you go to bed for the herbs and oils. You could put it into, like I said, some coconut oil and let that harden back up, and then you can scoop it into a Scentsy burner in your bedroom to bring in the energy that way. Yeah, it's really endless, the possibilities of the different ways that you can work with things. Even crystals, Val, if you wanted, if you took all your herbs and your oils and made a nice bath salt, and then you were going to take a nice bath before you did any of your, like I said, meditation, vision, dream work, anything that you're going to be doing, you could take a bath and you could place the crystals around the bathtub. Even certain crystals you could put in the bathtub with you. Just make sure that they're water safe to do that. So there's a few that you don't want to put. Selenite is one, but you wouldn't want to be working with selenite. Selenite is a clearing crystal, so it's not one you would be typically working with before you would be doing rituals or anything like that, because you don't want to be clearing out energies of that way. So yeah, lots of different ways. And I was hoping, like I said, to make a little incense with you, and maybe I'll come back for a short video on another day and we'll do some incense that way. But any of those things that I mentioned, that if you have them either in oil or herb form, bay, buchu, camphor, eyebright, hibiscus, lavender, marigold, mugwort, nutmeg, and wormwood, you can work with the herbs or the oils, combine them, and make all kinds of different kinds of products for yourself. This time of year, I like to make creams. I usually use like coconut butter or shea butter or something like that, because here in northern New Hampshire, dry skin is very common this time of year. So I like to work with things at this time of year, and a lot of different like creams and body butters and things like that as well. So as much as I would love to stay here and continue to talk about this, I'm really going to be late for work. So with that, I will see you guys all on Monday morning for our weekly forecast. And then on next Thursday, we have another Clair coming up. I don't remember what order I put them in, so I don't remember which one's coming next. But all the events for the Clairs are in there, including this one. There are 8 of them. So they're all scheduled out every Thursday for January and February. So if you want to go ahead and go in there and click interested or reminder or whatever, that would be super great as well. And I will see you Thursday for those. I hope you have a really great weekend. I'm super excited. I think my new cabinets are coming. So if they do, I will take some pictures and show you guys of the transformation of my messy area now that has broken glass in it as well, to hopefully getting my new cabinets put together and everything getting organized this weekend. That's my goal. So as of yesterday, we were in Massachusetts. So I'm hoping they'll either come today or tomorrow. So hopefully I'll have them soon. So, all right, I really have to go. I love you guys. I would much rather stay here and talk to you guys all day. Um, but remember, be kind. Your kindness is not only going to improve your day, it's going to improve somebody else's day, and it potentially could change someone's life for the better. And so a small act of kindness that doesn't cost you anything could really, really change somebody's life for the better. So go ahead and spread that kindness. It's free. And you guys know me, I don't like to talk politics, but with what's going on right now, we need all the kindness and love and compassion and empathy and understanding that we can muster. I know it's hard sometimes, but love you guys. See you Monday. Have an awesome weekend.